Webster's Dictionary, the English word swarthy is defined as having dark skin. If Keter, the grandson of Abraham, had black skin, then Abraham must have been black as well.
I've seen when black people claim that the ancient Hebrews and Jews were black people and Jesus was not a white man. Many white people come across and say, okay, Jesus was not a white man, but he wasn't a black person either. Because he was from the Middle East, and therefore, according to them, he must have looked like Arabs. But this is a fallacy. Just because the modern population of a region looks like X doesn't mean that the ancient inhabitants of that region looked also like X. For example, look at Australia. Are white Australians descended from the ancient Aborigines?
Nope.
Or are white Mexicans descended from the ancient Mayans?
Nope.
Of course not. The Middle East is the most melting pot region of the world. There are black, white, brown, Indian-looking and Mongol-looking people in this region, all of whom claim to be native and indigenous to this region. And for example, in Arabs, there are black, white, and mixed, the so-called brown Arabs, all of whom claim to be the real Arabs. But which of them is the real Arab? The black one, the white one, or the brown one? The same goes for Iran. There are many different ethnic groups in Iran. There are Mongoloid-looking Turkmens, there are Indian-looking Baluch, there are native blacks, there are white-looking Turks, there are mixed-looking Kurds and Lurs. Which of them is the true Iranian? And unlike what the believers of the Indo-European hoax claim, the white-looking people in this region are not descended from the ancient mythical Indo-Europeans. These people are mostly Turks or descended from Turks. For example, here in Iran, up to 40% of people are Turks, and I don't know how many of them are descended from Turks, meaning are related to Turks. And the most white-looking people of Iran are mostly Turks, but there are also Russian, Georgian, and Armenian people too living in this region. And we all know that Turks are not an indigenous people to this region. They came from southern Russia and the Central Asia in recent centuries. And they cannot be an indigenous people to this region. The ancient inhabitants of the ancient peoples of the Middle East were all different types of black people, different groups of black people. Assyrians were a black people, Persians were a black people, Elamites were a black people, and Arabs, yes, were a black people. That's why you see Assyrians have depicted themselves with curly hair, curly beard, and dreadlocks. That's why you see Persians have depicted themselves with curly hair and curly beard. And even there are many wall paintings found in Susa in which Persians have depicted themselves with black skin, have painted themselves with black skin. So therefore, Persians were black people, not a so-called Indo-European. And I believe that Persians, Assyrians, Arabs, and all of the ancient inhabitants of the Middle East were an Ethiopian type of people, the so-called Semitics, an Ethiopian type of people. People like the Somalis, like Ethiopians, like Eritreans, like Djiboutis, like dark-skinned Yemenis. You know, they weren't white people. Why? because the temperature here in this city
Too hot.
goes up to 50 degrees Celsius in summers with a high intensity and a UV index of 12.
Burn you up.
White people cannot endure this heat.
Not possible.
They cannot tolerate this heat. So they cannot be indigenous to this region. Because we,
Hear that, vocab?
semi-white looking people,
Like you, vocab.
stand this heat. We cannot go outside too much in summers.
Israelis over there, fake Israelis.
But how can white people be
How can they?
indigenous to this region?
How?
And I don't say this because I'm racist.
He not racist.
As you can see, I'm
Vocab.
a black person, and I look mostly like whites than blacks.
He look like you,
I
vocab.
just want to tell the truth that the ancient inhabitants of these regions, from Babylonians, Assyrians, Elamite, Persians, Jews, were all black.
Yup.
Please stop whitewashing history.
Please.
They were an Ethiopian type of blacks.
Why the
Created the
was
Middle East.
created? There is no Middle East, it's all Africa. This is the Middle East. The question of why is greatly avoided. But the how, where the Middle East countries created, is abundantly dealt with. Why and the how? It is from the how that the modern Arab countries came about that we will be able to answer the much avoided why the Middle East was formed. Who formed modern Arab royal dynasties and why? Who is the natural indigenous owner of the whole land? There was no Middle East.
No Middle East.
All Africa. There were no.
So I seen this video, right? And I figured I'd come out and I record it and I load it up. The title of this one gonna be Mr. Vocab Malone. Is this enough proof for you, brother? I want to say all praises to the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles and great men, Salakia, the apostles at Great Millstone that rule well. All the brothers and sisters out there pushing this truth and sincerity. Because there's plenty of evidence out there, Mr. Vocab Malone, if you want to just pay attention, man. All right, shalom.